The mission of this conversation is for us to discuss community, to show networking and collaborating so that other teachers can reach out to local businesses, local organizations, and see what you can do to best service your students.
Right.
Because we know it's not just about academic growth, it's about holistic growth, developing the growth mindset, that positive mindset and character for our students. And sometimes that requires you, whether you're an administrator, a teacher, a parent, a business owner, to say, how can I connect with students? How can I connect with my community to make it better? Hey everyone, it is Monet with T.I.C, and today I am talking with Leanthony Freeman. He is the founder of Y.A.L.E Academy, and this is going to be this week's Teacher Circle. So if you've been following me on Instagram, you know each week I talk to a teacher about something related to education, and we do a live show on Instagram. However, this week I really wanted to pull in Leanthony just to talk about building positive communities with our students and with businesses and organizations, because at the end of the day, we want to holistically reach our students. So I have a few questions, but before we get into our questions, I am going to let Leanthony introduce himself to you.
Hello everybody, it's an honor to be here. I want to thank Ms. Monet for allowing me to be here. Again, my name is Leanthony Freeman, Executive Director of Y.A.L.E Academy, which is Youth Acquired Leadership and Excellence.
Awesome. And can you share with us how long Y.A.L.E Academy has been initiated?
Yes, ma'am. So Y.A.L.E has been founded for the last 3 years. The thought came in about 2012 is when I first had the initial thought what I wanted to create. I didn't manifest it into 2016, going into 17. And so now here we are a few years later, evolved time and time again, and I think I love the direction which is going in.
Awesome. So our first question is, how important is it for teachers to dig past academics and build positive relationships with their students?
I think it is very, 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 very important, right? The significance of relationships, not just the students, but people in general. I think we miss that, right? We don't pay attention to how essential community is, and how you need people, and how this is an interconnected society, right? And so the reason that I believe teacher-student relationship is so important, because you deal with them for a long period of time in the day, and that student, it's the saying that I heard once before. It says students don't care what you know, they want to know that you care, right? So that relationship is essential in order for that student to really grasp a hold of what you're trying to teach, right? Just being receptive, the respect level there. So again, I think that must come first before you can even begin to teach.
Right.
Right? So yeah, that's what my thoughts are.
And I think that that applies to any level and any age range.
Right.
I think, like you said, students do have to know that you care, because we can't reach students whose minds are closed. If they're closed-minded, no matter how we present the information, they're not receptive.
Right.
So that's definitely key. So, do you have a personal story of a teacher digging past the surface to reach you as a student?
Yes, I do. His name is Professor Patterson. My journey was a little different, right? So I dropped out of high school. So not during my earlier years, I don't believe I had a teacher to do such a thing, because I wasn't there enough. But once in college, Professor Patterson, he went above and beyond to accommodate my needs, to massage my rough edges, right? I remember when I first entered Morehouse, I was a lot more rough and aggressive and assertive than who I am today, right? And he didn't take it personal when he was trying to reach out to me. He just understood that I was just a young man in pain, you know, that experienced a lot of different trauma. And so he'd go above and beyond, just trying to have conversations, and the conversations transition from the classroom to his office, from his office to church, just outside again in the community. I remember it was my first internship in New York City. I didn't have any money once getting there, and Professor Patterson I was like, yo, I need some sheets. And Professor Patterson was like, all right, come on, let's go get you some sheets and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? So he's really been very monumental in my life and my process, and I appreciate that man dearly, because I think he actually showed me what it's like to be what a teacher is, right? What a teacher is supposed to be and represent. Because as you stated earlier in our conversation prior to this, that it goes so much further beyond the classroom, right? You have to understand the students for who they are, what they are, where they come from.
Right.
Yeah, so Mr. Patterson, Professor Patterson, man. Dr. Patterson, soon to be, my man gonna get his PhD. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, yes.
So, and like we were saying earlier, before we actually got on camera, we had a really great conversation. But I think it's important that we know each student's story. Mm-hmm. And before Leanthony got to Morehouse, he was building his story. He was living his story. And so there was some things that in order for him to reach his fullest potential, he had to have someone like his professor to come in and say, yes, you're pushing me away. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're a little rough around the edges, but I see your potential. Let me pour into you so that you can become who I see you as.
Exactly.
And so now I'm pretty sure, you know, that same level of expectation that he had for you, you not have for yourself.
Yes.
So that's the power that we have as teachers, and so that's the true benefit of going past just the data of the student, going past just, you know, the outer appearance of a student, and really just pouring in so that it can eventually come out.
Exactly.
So, have you found it easy to enter and collaborate with schools? I know you said earlier that you really hit, or your organization is really focused on developing character. Tell us about that. How do you go about developing character?
Right. So I believe the best teacher for character is experience, honestly. Yale was created based on my lack of moral integrity. And it wasn't until I realized that I need to heighten my character and who I am as a young man that change began to happen into my life. But that, again, that was through experience, right? And so we developed a curriculum, but, you know, that type of curriculum, again, trying to build character, you can't just teach. You can't just sit down and try to profess onto the kids. You have to involve them and put them in situations and scenarios and help them grow and mold into that person. So my organization is a 3-component organization: education, health and wellness, and community service. So some of the students, you know, periodically on Saturdays, we'll go to this food pantry and help over there. We have an annual refurbishment of a housing project in which we do. The students are going to partake in that. And I think it's also you witness it, right? I think you witness good character in what you adapt and onto yourself. And so one of the students yesterday at the closing ceremony, and I was honestly, I appreciated it a lot because he spoke very highly of me, but at the beginning he was one of my tougher students to try to get through. And he was just speaking on like how I carry myself, and based on how I carry myself, he seen a new standard of what it is to be a man and a young man, right? So again, not just an experience that I put them in certain situations and scenarios, but demonstrating what higher character looks like. You know, it's how we teach them. And of course, like I said, the curriculum is a little bit more complex than that, but I think those are the broad components.
That's a great way of explaining it, and you also presented a example, and I completely agree with you. There are some things that you just can't say, but you have to show.
Yes.
And a quote that I came up with this summer was, students listen, but they're guaranteed to model and imitate.
Yes.
So whatever you put out is what you're going to get back.
Exactly.
So how easy has it been for you to get into these schools, to present your curriculum and then connect with students?
Well, to be completely transparent, we have recently transitioned from the schools to the court system for a multitude of different reasons, but I think that the school or the justice system has presented us the platform to do a little bit more and have a little bit more autonomy. But initially, our organization was Invest Academy. The principal there, Dr. Jones, offered, well, we proposed it, of course, but he offered the platform, and I think that really changed the trajectory of my organization. I haven't had the opportunity for maybe a couple summers now to really be in the schools. I think I've been trying to impact the justice system a little bit more, and trying to do what I can there. And if the schools are open to it, then I'm sure I will find a way back in the schools. But right now, I think those students, that demographic of students, sort of need us a little bit more, at least for this stage we're in right now.
Right. Right. Definitely. You're finding, you see the need, and you're going to fulfill the need.
Right.
And that's really important.
Right. Yeah, we're not opposed to getting back into the school system. It's just currently that's just been the door that's opened up for us.
Right.
And I think honestly, to do what we really want to do, that it actually makes more sense, because as you and I were speaking about earlier, as far as the data that's needed, right? What better way to present onto the schools that our program works and our organization is effective than using, the demographic in which we're using and actually having a stronger impact with them, and then coming to them like, well, look, this is the tier of students that we've been dealing with, and this is how significant the change was. Now let's utilize y'all schools and your students, and let's see how much we can get done. I think they'll be more open to that, because it's like, okay, unfortunately, to the world, they feel as though the juveniles that we deal with are subpar and below average. So like, if you can teach that demographic of students, of course you'll be able to teach our students, in the school system.
Right. Definitely.
Right.
So the next question is, from your perspective, can the education system afford to not build positive relationships with the communities that they serve?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Again, as we spoke on earlier, the resources, is a plethora of different resources that we all need to grasp hold of. And I think sometimes we are ignorant to that fact, that, again, that you have something, and even on a microscopic level, that you have something to offer me as an individual, not just the entity in which you embody or encompass, but you yourself, the person, has something to offer me and to heighten who I am, right? And if we think about it like that, then imagine what can transpire on a massive level, right? So no, we can't afford to disassociate ourselves from the community, and think that the community don't have anything to offer, because again, my organization offers something completely different than what another organization offers, but they all are essential for the development of not just Black society, but society as a whole. So yeah, man, and I think again that comes with a lot of humility, which some institutions don't have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like the administrator's like, nah, man, I'm kind of cool. We got it. We don't need any outside help.
Right.
But, yeah.
And like you said earlier, we can't take it as the school is in its own bubble, because the school is actually in a community.
Right.
And by reaching out to the community and pouring it back into the students, we're going to see growth.
Yeah.
We're going to see climate change and structural change.
Right.
And so now, instead of it just being the administrator has their hand on the student, the teacher has their hand on the student. Okay, well, the local grocery store now has their hand and support on that student. And so that student now feels like, you know what, I not only need to learn to better myself, but I need to learn so that I can give back to the community that is given to me. And so we really need to be more aware of the presence that we're allowing into our school. Yes, we need to, have security measures, but at the same time, we really need to find ways to not just at the beginning of the school for a back to school bash, or the end of the year for the end of the school bash, but we should have some sort of bridge that local businesses, local leaders within our communities, that they can come into the schools and mentor. They can come into the school and read. They can come into the school and just have a presence, so that students can learn, it's not just my mama that's in my corner. It's not just my teacher that's in my corner. Everybody is in my corner.
You hit a good point on when you spoke on the grocery stores. That made me reflect on what transpired this summer. So, of course, our summer program, being in the courthouse, and again, based on the demographics of students which deal with, they come from impoverished neighborhoods and families sometimes. And so a lot of students couldn't afford to eat lunch. A lot of students couldn't afford to get to work sometimes, or whatever the case may be. So the house that we're refurbishing this year is actually a food pantry. So again, utilizing your network and understanding how essential the community is as a whole. You know, we reached out to the food pantry and we're like, yo, our students here, is it possible that you can provide, you know, amount of food periodically if, you know, you may. And they say yes. We would love to, and they began to providing weekly supplies of food, which actually began to be too much. But again, utilizing the community, right? To give what we needed, to fulfill what we need to hear. The students then at that point didn't go hungry anymore. So I think that's a smaller point of view, but again, I think it hits home and touches the point of what you're talking about as far as the community, because everybody has something to give.
Right,
you know?
Definitely. Because our hopes is that once those students graduate and they go to college, that they move back into our communities, that they bring wealth into our community, that they bring wisdom into our communities, and that's how you flip. You know, it's not always regentrification. Is that what they call it? Gentrification, where, you know, you have to bring somebody from the outside in order to bring value. No, we can bring our value up, but there have to be some changes that we make, and it does, in a sense, start with the education system. If we have a lot of illiterate homeowners or illiterate students, then of course we're going to see crime. Of course we're going to see poor decisions within our community, as in the sense of littering, just a lot of things that happen just because of the sad part of just not knowing better. Because some people don't do better because they don't know how. Some people know better, you know, but we can't always assume they person 24. They supposed to know to do better. Nobody taught them. So with programs like yours, where you're helping to develop character, you know, which is the moral system or the moral compass of a person, and then when you have schools that connect with the community and open the door to the community, there's your flip. You know, now they know better because they've been shown better and they've been taught better.
So on your end, have you seen it happen? With you being a teacher in the school system, have you seen outside sources come in and make the changes that you suggest to be needed?
Not enough.
Okay. That's
and I have seen it where I've been in a couple schools because my ex-husband was in the Navy. So I moved quite a bit and I went to different schools, and I have seen this community sense in a charter school that I worked with. They had a lot of support from the community garden. They let students plant, they let students harvest. They came in, they kind of taught, and then they tried to do a lot of socials within the community. Like I think they did a barbecue for the community and had people come in and just see the school, things of that nature. But that builds a sense of pride.
Most definitely.
You know, everybody's my child now.
Yes.
Let's see. Can I think of any other examples? I've also seen the other side where it's like people try to come in and they're rejected. You know, and it's not because they didn't have a clean background check. It's because it wasn't truly a priority of the school. We're too busy looking at test scores. We really can't afford to have a mentorship program right now. You know, I need my teachers to be focused on this, not this. I will not go into like names or anything, but I don't think that's the only school that has done that. And I don't think that they did that to be negative or hurtful to the students. I just think, like I said, their priorities were different. But we need to make community a priority.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because post departing from Best Academy, Dr. Jones and I sat down, we had a conversation, and he was just affirming me and, you know, showing appreciation that I had the guts to do what I did and present it onto him, because what he said was that he was one of those individuals at one point where that was rejecting certain organizations, and he was like, it wasn't until you that you opened the door for tons of different organizations. I think like now it's 100 Black Men and other different organizations, but I think sometimes it do just take that one to break the levee, you know what I'm saying, and it'd be a flood for different organizations to come in. So hopefully you know, we can have more people that's willing to take the chances. Because I also think that you have to be confident. You know what I'm saying? You have to be confident. Based on my background and where I come from, I had no choice but to be a little bit more confident in that office to really propose and really sell a dream. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really trying to hear a no at that point in time. Yeah, I think I was 25 or so, and no wasn't going to fly with me. I think people, you know, sometimes are in a situation where they have the opportunity presented to them, but that first no, they just give up. Also, sometimes you gotta push a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying, to get what you want.
So I also say for every no there is a yes.
Yes.
You can't, if you know that you're doing something that is different, no is inevitable. Somebody is, because for whatever reason, it could be fear of what you're trying to cultivate or bring to the table, uncertainty because it's different, they don't really know the risk and even the rewards of what you're presenting. But someone said no stands for new opportunity. But I also think that no is, we learn from failure.
Yes,
you know, we learn, okay, if that approach didn't work, let me go back to the drawing board and let's go back to it. And nine times out of 10, you're going to get a yes because you've bettered the product, you've bettered the vision and the dream. So like I said, no, I just take it as new opportunity, and it eventually will manifest.
Right,
you know?
right. All right, and before we go on, my bad, but like you mentioned, as far as the evolution, 7-Up, I actually believe was named 7-Up because they failed 7 times. Or no, it took them 7 times to get it right. So they failed 6 times prior to that, and then the 7th time was when they got the company right, and that's why they're 7-Up now. And like even my organization, we evolved 3 different times, went through 3 different phases, right, to get to where we are today. So yeah, man, like you said, failure, it takes failure in order to figure out who and what you are and actually what you're trying to create and what you're trying to cultivate. You know, so. Yeah.
Right. The mission of this conversation is for us to discuss community, to show networking and collaborating so that other teachers can reach out to local businesses, local organizations, and see what you can do to best service your students.
Right.
Because we know it's not just about academic growth, it's about holistic growth, developing the growth mindset, that positive mindset and character for our students. And sometimes that requires you, whether you're an administrator, a teacher, a parent, a business owner, to say, how can I connect with students? How can I connect with my community to make it better? Because no man is an island.
Right.
It does not benefit us to be an island.
Right.
But when we come together, we can do some powerful things. So that's the mission of this video, to really get people thinking about, how can I do that? How can I bridge the gap? How can I build bridges if one is not in existence, and make it a priority within our schools for our students?
Talk that talk, sister. Yeah. Word. Say that.
So we are going to, and you've already talked about how your business evolved over time from its beginning in 2012. You've told us that you originally started within the school systems with Best Academy, and how you're very passionate about pouring into students' character development and really assisting with the development of that moral compass that just guides us throughout our lives. How can teachers and other viewers support your organization?
Well, present me the platform, you know? You know, open the doors for us to come in and change the world. No. But yeah, I think that getting the word out is essential, like you just spoke on, and networking. Allowing us to be in the rooms where conversations are being had. Being receptive onto individuals such as myself when the time comes, when even, you know, giving individuals a chance, you know, because it's tons of people that's doing what I'm doing, you know, but sometimes they just need a chance, you just need an opportunity, you feel me? So I think that definitely give people a chance to show that it's worth, and present the platform,
Right. Have that open door.
Yeah, have that open door, allow us to walk in it with our head up and our chest out, you know.
Right. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to link his information at the bottom of the screen so that you can see his website. You can also follow him. You can also follow him on Instagram. and see some great footage of some of the things that he's done with students within a community. He has a history here in Metro Atlanta,
Yes, ma'am.
and also Buffalo, New York, so you can kind of check out those things. He also has previous interviews that you can watch. He just did a tour, was it last summer?
Last winter, this past winter, yeah, we did an educational tour.
So all of that footage you can check out if you would like to get in contact with him. I will make sure I put his information in the comment section below. But I hope you have enjoyed this teacher's circle. No, he is not an educator, but he definitely is a partner to educators. And like he said, he is not the only organization, he's not the only young man that wants to come inside of our classrooms to make a greater difference and impact. Teachers, let's really think outside the box. How can we draw in our community leaders inside of our classrooms to really give our students what they need, whether that be opening the door for them to mentor, opening the door for them to read, opening the door for them to help inside of our classrooms. Businesses, how can you contribute to teachers? Can you donate school supplies? Can you donate groceries to students that may not be eating? I do know we have a couple of districts that have their certain cafeterias open on the weekends, but I think there has to be a certain population number for them to open them in certain areas. But I want to challenge all stakeholders, administrators, business owners, teachers, and parents. I want to challenge us to really get to know our students, really get to know your children, really get to know your community. Drive around one day and see what is actually going on. I know for me, I have tunnel vision. Once I get in my car, I'm thinking about point A, point B. But there have been times where I've said, wow, it's a lot of people in this corner. Wow, there's a lot of students, you know, walking around here looking rough with holes in their pants. We had too many Goodwills for that.
That's a fact. Yes,
like,
we do.
what's really going on?
Yes, ma'am.
I had a teacher one year, not for myself, but she noticed that one of my peers had an odor. And it really wasn't a bodily odor, it was her clothes would smell.
Wow.
So learning her student's story, mom worked multiple jobs. She didn't really know how to do laundry. She was trying to do laundry and it just wasn't working for her. So the teacher helped her not only with washing her clothes, but taught her how to properly use a washer and dryer. She's changed that child's life. Now you know, like now she knows how to wash her clothes. You know, but it's the small things that make some major differences. So I want to thank you for giving me your time, for coming to my humble home.
Thank you for having me.
And having this discussion, and I know it's really going to change lives.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at @Tic_life. And the question of the day, you know, I always give it to you. What are you going to do this school year to make a difference within your local community? And I can't wait to read those comments below. So continue to have a great day, guys, and tick on.